Hello, all you miniatures lovers out there on the internets. Are you ready to ramble about miniatures? I am. I'm Ducky, by the way. This is Monday, the 30th of August, 2021. And you're looking at the 10 figures I've completed this week. I hit my target of at least 10 minis every week. So I should be happy. The only way I reached that target this week was by being really sloppy and speed painting a lot and doing the simplest miniatures first. So all of these monsters are extremely simply done. But the characters here, I put a little more effort into. The pilots, still relatively simple, just base coat, highlight, wash for the most part. Not very complex. Certain portions of like the face and the hair have been a few more layers on, but overall, I think they're okay. And then all these monsters are just really quickly speed painted. Even went so far as to use contrast paints on some of them. Like this cockatrice is mostly in contrast paints. And yeah, and the Umber Hulk is basically monotone. Why is it stuck? So there's not much differentiating any part of it, but that's what Umber Hulks look like in every artwork for D&D. And then we have the dragon eggs. I don't know why this one is only partially scaly. And this one has a little dragon coming out of it. And the Displaced Beast is basically just one color. It's all purple. And these worms, just a few colors. So, not a lot going on there really. But, and I have to apologize for the harsh indoor lighting here. That's because it's an overcast day. No real natural light from the window to speak of. The window's behind me, by the way, which is normally my light source. I try to film with as much natural light as I can. But regardless of any cheating or trickery, I did hit my target. I did finish 10 minis this week. So I'm always happy when I do that. And yeah. We might as well move on to what I have not finished and what I have just started. So these are the leftovers, these two models, of stuff that was started previously but not finished. And it might look like nothing has happened to them, but there's actually a few coats of paints on certain places. I've worked on the wing membranes here, for example. Not very obvious or in your face, but there is a little bit of work done. And I'm going to get my act together and finish these by next week. I promise. Let's see if I can keep that promise. Here's what I chose to prep from the Strange Aeons miniatures, namely all the deep ones, 9 of them, 8 more or less human-sized and 1 giant deep one. And they've been primed. I've managed to get my airbrush back in mostly working order. The trigger is still sticking a bit. It's like it's almost too clean, so the needle has trouble moving back and forth. But I can get a good spray out of it. I'll keep trying to fix it even more. But yeah, fairly simple minis. Gonna do pretty speedy paint jobs on them, I assume. They're kind of rough sculpts, So no point in wasting too much time on them. But they're fun. That's the main part. A lot of them are really amusing. Like the one trying to camouflage himself in the overcoat and the hat and whatever and sitting in a wheelchair. You ain't fooling me. Anyway, let's move on. Why, hey, what do you know? Some new stuff. My order from Hassle Free from this summer, their summer sale, finally showed up. It was mostly stuck in shipping and then customs for most of that time. So I picked up a bunch of figures of various types, mostly fantasy. We have Lord Mort. We have the dynamic Micah. We have Grand. We have this one, which I believe is called Jean or Sean. It's supposed to be Sean Dark. We have the dynamic Lenore, and we have this barbarian whose name I forget and who isn't labeled. Then there were some modern or sci-fi guys, the Lab Tech, and this group, which is the Post-Apoc gang. I'm not going to open them up, all of them. This is the Scooby Gang reimagined in a post-apocalyptic scenario. Why can't I say the word post-apocalypse easily? Anyway, so they're equipped with various weapons and the like. As we do have the actual Scooby Gang in their normal garb as well. That set was not in stock when I placed this order, but I do want to get those as well eventually. So 12 minis. I also bought a lot of bases. I use up a lot of blank 30mm bases, just plain round 30 mils, and they're hard to get these days. There's not many places that carry them, but Hassle usually has them. And I got some cavalry bases. I use those a lot for, you know, quadrupeds, the 25 by 50mm square bases. I mean rectangular, sorry. I mean, ideally I would like to have oval bases or bases with rounded corners of that size, but you know, the rectangular ones will have to do. So I got a lot of those. And you know, this is a lot. This is like probably 2 weeks worth of painting, but I'll get started prepping them, and I'll prep a few more because these two, the dynamic Lenore and the dynamic Micah, they are versions. They are the fact that they're dynamic is that they're in action-oriented poses. Lenore here is casting a spell. Micah is charging forward with her two-handed sword, a flambage, over her shoulder, probably, in a high guard position. But I already have these basic characters in different sculpts. We have here Micah von Oswald just standing there with her sword, leaning on it. And we have the normal Lenore. In this case, in a Resin Master Edition, which I have a bunch of these. I don't know that they're worth the extra price, really. But sometimes I got them because they're available before the metal casts, and they cost about twice as much as the metal, but supposedly the detail is crisper. And so I thought I'd paint these side by side. I'd paint the normal Lenore and the dynamic Lenore in different materials and see if painting them feels any different. So that's a grand total of 14 minis to prep for next week. And as I said, that will not be finished in just one more week after that. I mean, they'll be prepped by next week, I assume. But it's going to take more than another single week to finish them all, because this is a lot to paint in my current schedule when I'm working my day job as well. But it's something to look forward to, and it's a lot of characters as opposed to all the monsters I've been painting recently, so that's some variety. And we'll see what arrives next. I know for a fact that my pre-order from Reaper of the ReaperCon swag box has been sent out from the UK. So that's somewhere in the shipping process. It could be here next week. it could be another month. There is no way of knowing. So, yeah, we'll just have to see. And also, there's another package that was on its way to me from the US with some old first edition Malifaux minis that I'd found at a used game store. And it got hung up in customs here in Sweden because the local post office claimed the customs forms were not filled out correctly, so they returned it to sender. The damn fools. Now it's on its way by slowest possible mail over the ocean, over the Atlantic again, before it can get to the US, and then they'll have to resend it. Oh my gosh. Ugh. These fuck-ups. I swear. But yeah. And then, after, of course, there is still the Bones 5 Kickstarter outstanding. I mean, last I heard anything, they were finishing up Wave 2 of the European parcels. That was about a week ago. I mean, my order is in Wave 5, so yeah. I might be waiting a while longer for that one. But, of course, I have stuff to paint anyway. The reason I'm hoping for Bones 5 to arrive relatively soon is that it includes a lot of simple monster miniatures like goblins and kobolds and orcs that I know I can speed paint very quickly, and that will help my statistics for this year in purchased versus painted, which otherwise are going to go deep into the red when Bones 5 arrives. So, yeah, that's the plan. Anyway, enough rambling. I rambled long enough. It's time to wrap up this episode by saying thank you for watching. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share, comment, but above all, be back here next week, same day of the week, same channel, same Dakaiya. But now I'm signing off.